Let's see if we can get every fruit in the game from just 100 rolls from the Blox Fruits gacha. Or at least the fruit that you're aiming to get. There are a total of 34 fruits in Blox Fruits, and every single one of them have a different percentage chance of being rolled from the Blox Fruit dealer. But what we're aiming for today is at least one mythical fruit. Okay, so since we're on the topic of rolling these fruits, let's talk a bit about the Blox Fruits gacha. And the places this guy is located is on the jungle in the first sea, the cafe in the second sea, and in the mansion on the third sea. And the chances of rolling each fruit are the exact same on every seed, so it's not like you can get a better fruit if you're on the third one. And the amount of money that it costs to roll these 100 fruits kind of varies depending on what level you are. This is a nice equation that I'm going to put on screen to show you guys how you can calculate your level and how much money you have to pay. So a max level player to roll 100 fruits, it would cost almost 4 million belly. But did you actually know that if you have Roblox Premium equipped, then you have to pay less money to the Blox Fruits gacha? It will give you a 20% off every single time you buy a fruit from him. And this is the equation for premium users to calculate how much money they have to pay. Let's say, what if I was level 50 and I wanted to roll these fruits? Then it would cost way less. When you're level 50, you only have to pay 32,000 for each roll. And if you have premium, it's just 25,000, making it almost 10 times cheaper. So as far as mythical fruits go, there's the paw fruit, the gravity fruit, the dough fruit, the control, dragon, and leopard. And all of these have different chances. The paw fruit has a 1.8% chance, the gravity has a 1.7, the dough a 1.4, control 1.1, dragon 0.5, and leopard 0.1. So if we add that up, there's a total 6.6% chance of getting a mythical fruit every time you roll from the dealer. But that doesn't seem to be the case, and I feel like it's a bit lower than that. But with this estimate, we should hopefully get at least one mythical fruit. So the process we did for all these rolls is that I got 3 of my friends, and we all just decided to start rolling. That way we can finish the 100 rolls faster, and it takes way less time compared to one person doing it. So when we originally started, we had a total of 3 people, but one of them just quit after 10 rolls, so it was just me and my other friend doing 40 rolls each. During these rolls, I was hoping to get at least one mythical fruit, and my friend was hoping the same. And like I said before, the chances of getting one are 6.6 on each roll, so hopefully I get one. So let's go through the other fruit rarities. The falcon fruit has a 9.5% chance, the bomb a 22.12, the spike a 19.8, and the chop a 17.4, spring 9.5, smoke 5, flame 4.8, ice 4.8. That's kind of weird. Why does the flame fruit have the same chances as the ice fruit? Doesn't make any sense. Sand fruit 4.8, dark 4.8, light 4.8, rubber 4.8, barrier 5, magma 4.8, quake 2.2, Buddha 2.2, spider 2.2, and phoenix 1.8. And if we take a look at this right here, you have a massive chance of getting the bomb, literally 22%. I always wonder, why do I always get the chop fruit? But if we look at the amount of times we've rolled the bomb fruit, it was actually only 3 times, which doesn't make any sense because I should be getting it 22% of the time, which means I should have gotten at least 20 of them. And if we look at this other part of the list, I know a lot of you expected the kilo fruit to have a really high chance, but it doesn't. The chop fruit is actually higher, being the highest fruit that was rolled at a total of 9 rolls. And doing these rolls took a lot of time, so if you guys could just like and subscribe, that would be amazing and helps me a lot for future videos. So before we go to the second half of this graph, I just want to take a look at the first half. So if we see here, the love fruit has actually been rolled only 1 time compared to the barrier fruit, which has been rolled twice. And if you look at the chances, that's kind of weird. And honestly, if you take a look at the rubber fruit over here, I'm actually very surprised that it's been rolled a total of 6 times, and it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so now let's take a look at the second half of this graph. If you move a bit to the right from the barrier fruit, you'll see that the magma fruit actually got rolled a total of 5 times, which is actually pretty crazy compared to the odds. And then if you take a look at the quake fruit, it got rolled a total of 4 times. And then you'd have a little bit of this gap. The Buddha, string, phoenix, and portal were rolled absolutely 0 times. And then you got the rumble fruit, which was rolled once, and the paw fruit, which was rolled twice. Then you have another huge gap until you get to the dragon fruit, and this is actually one of the most surprising things out of this graph. It was rolled a total of 2 times, even though the dragon fruit's chance of getting rolled is only 0.5%, which means according to the odds, I wouldn't even get 1 fruit if I rolled 100 times. I would have to roll 200 times to get even 1, and that's only by chance, but I actually got 2 of them, which doesn't make any sense, and that's something I found pretty cool about it. Okay, so now we're going to compare the chances of the fruits we rolled to the actual chances mentioned on the wiki. And before I go to this, I will note that these fruits Venom, Kilo, Spin, Shadow, Portal, Revive, Diamond, Love, Spirit, Rumble, and Blizzard don't have extremely accurate chances, and the reason for this is that people have not rolled them enough times to know for sure, but the rest of the fruits in the game do. You can actually kind of estimate the chances for these fruits depending on their rarity, because legendary fruits are pretty similar in rarity, and that goes for all the other rarities as well. So first up, when we look at this graph, the first thing you're going to notice is this huge blue and yellow, and these are the Kilo and Chop fruits, making up a total of 17% of the chart. And if you add the 5% chance of the Spin fruit into the mix, that makes up more than 20% of the chart already. And then if you add the Spring fruit, which is a 7%, that makes up 28%, literally more than a quarter already, and we're just taking 4 fruits. Next up is the Bomb fruit, which only covers 3% of the graph, but in the wiki it says it covers 22%, which doesn't make any sense. Next up is the Smoke fruit, which has a 4% chance, and the wiki has a 5, so it's pretty similar. Next up is the Spike fruit with only a 5%, but in the wiki it says 19%. The wiki has about 4 times more, which is kind of weird. Next up is the Flame fruit, which has a 5% chance on the graph. On the wiki it's a 4.8, so it's the most similar one by far. Next up is the Falcon, which has a 4% on this graph and a 9% chance on the wiki, so it's basically doubled. Next up is the Ice fruit, which has a 4% chance here, but in the wiki it's 4.8, so it's still pretty similar. Next is the Sand fruit, which has a 5%, but on the wiki it's a 4.8, also pretty similar. Then we got the Dark fruit, which has a 4.8% chance in the wiki, but on the graph it's 5% as well, so it's really similar. Overall, this pie chart is actually pretty easy to read, because the amount of percentage it has is the amount of times it's been rolled, because it's out of 100. I mean, anyone can do that math. Next up is the Revive fruit with a 5% on the chart, and then we got the Diamond fruit, which has a 4%, the Light fruit with another 4% as well, which means it was rolled 4 times in total, and on the wiki it's also 4.8, really similar. Next up is the Love with only 1 roll, and on the wiki it's unknown, so I can't really compare this one. And if we go next, you'll notice the Rubber with a 6%, meaning it was rolled 6 times in total, which makes absolutely no sense because it's a legendary fruit. And on the wiki it says 4.8, which I feel like is a lie. I don't think legendary fruits should be this common. Next is the Barrier with 2 rolls only. On the wiki it says 5, which is the Magma's 5% on this chart, but on the wiki it's actually unknown. The Quake fruit has a 4% chance on this chart, and on the wiki it's only a 2.2, so it's basically doubled its actual chances. Next up is the Rumble with only 1 roll. Then we got the Paw fruit, which actually had 2 rolls, pretty surprising. And on the wiki it says 1.8, so it's kind of similar. And next up, the most surprising thing out of this whole list, the Dragon fruit, a mythical fruit that's been rolled 2 times, going against all of its odds. On the website it says 0.5, which means I shouldn't even have rolled it once. And this is by far probably the most surprising thing out of this whole chart. Okay, so let's talk about the total amount of money. Like I mentioned before, it takes a total of 4 million belly to buy all of these fruits. And how much would that be in Robux? If you wanted to buy the belly with Robux, that would be a total of 4,000 Robux. And to buy that, it would cost around $50. So if you guys want to spin your own 100 fruits without grinding out the cash, then that's how much you would have to pay. And some of you might be wondering, what did I do with the extra fruits? Basically what I did was I just left the game with them and completely wasted them. I know I should have probably given it to some of my friends or some random players, but I was spinning the fruits in a private server and I was kind of tight on time, so that's pretty unfortunate. I have a current total fruit storage of 2, so I can't store more than 2 of the same fruit. The Dragon fruit, I have 2 of them currently in my inventory and I don't want to eat them because I don't really think the Dragon fruit is one of the best fruits. And if I could have actually controlled what mythical fruit I rolled, then I would have probably chosen the Leopard fruit, because the Leopard fruit is probably one of the coolest fruits to roll, or even maybe the Doe, I'm not really sure. And another pretty cool thing that happened while I was rolling for these fruits was that I rolled the Rubber fruit 3 times in a row, and the chances of that are just really crazy. And I think this is the main luck streak that led to rolling the Rubber a total of 6 different times.